welcome to my channel. In this video we are going to talk about the 10 most common mistakes by English learners. Let's start. As you should know, to express purpose in English you must use infinitive plus to. No additional prepositions are necessary, so two prepositions for and to together cannot be used in English at all. Be careful with that. So the correct forms of these phrases should be to go and to start the university. We use the university only if the university is a concrete university and we know the name, or it's a concrete university within our context. This is the following typical mistake. Honestly, I absolutely hate this mistake, and I always remind my students that people is the plural form per person, studied at elementary level. But students are so keen and rushing on to the next level that they completely forget it. I'm afraid as soon as the class has finished, people is used with the verb in plural. Well, the problem with this mistake is actually that in Spanish there is an equivalent, la gente, and it's feminine and singular. So, for example, Spanish speakers just apply the same rules that are used in their language for English. Mistake number 3 is... This is one of the other elementary basic things that people just forget when they pass on to the next level. So please be careful that in this case you cannot use the article de with time expressions. So the correct forms would be last week and next Monday. For example, last week I went to Paris. Next Monday I'm going to study more. The fourth basic mistake is avoiding or forgetting the subject. For example, remember that in English you must always use the subject, unlike other languages, for example Spanish, where you can omit it with no change in the meaning. But in English it's just not correct, grammatically incorrect, so you must always use the subject. The following mistake refers to irregular plurals, once again. So, the word children is already the plural form for child. Child, singular, children, plural. But people apply regular plural forms to the irregular plural form, and they have a hybrid of plural forms. So, of course, it's incorrect. It should be children, without s at the end of the word. This mistake is somehow related to the previous one, and it refers to the problem of the use of articles. I already mentioned the problem of articles in the first mistake, and I want just to mention here that we don't use the article there when we talk about general things, especially used with plurals. Well, we can use there with plurals if we refer to concrete things or people. In this case, if we talk about children in general, we just use children. We don't have to use the children unless they are concrete children. This is another mistake related to the bad use of plural forms. Here we have a hybrid, a combination of a word in singular and word in plural. So, of course, it's not possible. Dances is already used in plural, so we have to use other dances or another dance. Alright. This mistake is a bit more complicated and is related to uncountable nouns. This is a very tough topic, and you really must learn the list of these words, because otherwise it's impossible to imagine that, because in different languages there are different uncountable nouns. So be careful with that. Advice is always uncountable, used in singular form, with a verb in singular form. So in this case you should use I need some advice, or I need a piece of advice, but not advices. Oh my god. This mistake is grammatical and is the problem of the use of the verb to be and other verbs with auxiliary verbs. So people just use a combination of them again. Well, remember that the use of the verb to be is unlike other verbs, so you don't use the verb to be with other verbs or infinitives. So in this case you must use an auxiliary verb do you live? Or are you living if you mean right now, at the moment? And the last mistake from this list refers to the incorrect use of adjectives. Remember that in English, adjectives are always placed before the subject. Always, no exceptions. So it's very important to put first before the subject, unimaginable in this case. And the other rule that you must always remember is that adjectives don't change. They don't have a different plural form. So when you want to use in singular and in plural, you use the same form. It's very easy. So in this case, first adjective should be in singular and before the subject. Then the phrase is correct. So these are all the mistakes that I wanted to show in this video. I'm going to show more mistakes in other videos. Please, if you like the video, if you like my channel, subscribe to it, share with your friends, and see you soon. Bye bye!